Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Sports with Skiz, episode 24. Ike Taylor, Champ Bailey, shout out to those boys there. Tanaka, how we doing, my man? We had a great interview yesterday with Casey Fox, the athletic director at Tennessee Tech. If you didn't check that out, please go do so. We did unfortunately have audio or visual problems, excuse me. So that one is just audio on YouTube, but Tanaka, do you want to tell the fine folks what that helped us do?
Yeah. So, something we should have did from Jump Street, but we held off for a while, but it pushed us to do it anyway. We now have podcasts, Apple, Spotify. We're gonna try to get it on Deezer, things of that nature. iHeartRadio, so it pushed us into a new direction. We hope that you guys would enjoy listening to us on your car ride to work, before bed, while you're doing your chores at home, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, definitely. It's very exciting. We put it off for too long, but like you said, it pushed us in that direction. So hopefully this will help us get our voices out there and be heard a little bit. I know myself, I usually do like just listening to podcasts. So if you're like me, hopefully you enjoy this. It'll be easier to check out. But with that being said, Tanaka, we are on week 10 of college football, which I know we talk about it every week, but now that we do this show twice a week, it's crazy how fast the seasons move.
So fast, dude. It's almost over. Bowl season's upon us. I remember our first episode like it was yesterday, man.
Yeah, same here. So much has changed. We've learned so much. We're still continuing to learn as well too. So, this should be a breeze, but we will jump right into it. So I'll kick us off here first. My first game that I have this weekend, I really like this one. It's Army versus Air Force. Air Force is -1.5 over under 49.5. This rivalry game is a part of the Commander-in-Chief Trophy Series that's among the service academies. So Army, Navy, Air Force, whoever has the better records at the end gets that Commander-in-Chief trophy and gets the bragging rights out of it. So starting off here with Army, Cale Helams has been great at quarterback since he stepped in week two. He has been hurt, dealt with injuries, so they had their backup step up, but he's been really good. He's helped them lead a top four rushing offense for Army. Go figure that they're a top four rushing offense. But also helping out in the run game, they got Noah Short and Hayden Reed. Both of those guys do have over 300 yards rushing on the ground. So obviously, with them running the triple option, they like to disperse the ball, get it into multiple people's hands. Switching over, excuse me, to the defensive side, Andon Thomas and Caleb Fortner are two linebackers that I really like. They have that good Army feel. If you look at them and see their swag, they just look like Army linebackers. But other than that, Army's defense, they are pretty good, but they do struggle against the run. So it's going to be interesting to see how they hold up against this Air Force offense. Obviously, they run the triple option, more of like a spread triple option, I guess I would say, than the rather traditional. So with that being said, moving over to Air Force, they're led by quarterback Liam Scarza, who, like Cale Helams, he also leads their team in rushing with over 700 yards on the ground. So he has a little bit of that dynamic. He throws the ball a little bit more than Cale as well too. But just like Army, Air Force also has two very good running backs in Owen Allen and Dylan Carson. They're having some good years to help support this second overall ranked rushing offense. Right now, they're averaging 284 yards on the ground per game. So it'll be interesting to see how that Army defense holds up against them. Looking at Air Force's defense, on the other hand, I'm not joking, Tanaka, when I tell you they are the worst defense in the nation. They rank dead last in all of FBS in total yards, giving up 484 yards per game. Statistically, their best ranking is their rush defense, but it sits at 106th in the nation. They're only better than 30 other teams, which is kind of crazy to think about. Even though their defense stinks, I do like Blake Fletcher. He leads their team in tackles. So this is a pretty interesting game. I mean, I love these types. A lot of people don't because they could be rock fights. And what I mean by rock fights is the teams could struggle a little bit offensively, but I'm not quite sure how it's going to look this year. On the other hand, just some key statistics that I was looking at. I'm a stats guy here, Knock. Both of these teams really do avoid getting penalized. Go figure that the service academies are very well disciplined football teams. But Air Force is 19th in the FBS. They only average 40 penalty yards a game. And Army is second, only averaging 24.9 penalty yards per game. So I thought that was pretty wild. And then obviously, with these guys running the ball, controlling the clock, they both do rank in the top half of the FBS in average time of possession, too. So my closing thoughts here, what I really, really like, I like Army. I think it's going to be a close margin. Give me them plus 1.5 or even money line. I like them to win outright. And even though I think this is going to be close, I could see this game being something that's along the lines of either like 24-20 or like 27-23. But with that being said, I do like the over in this game as well too. So I like Army money line. I like the over. And Knock, you know this guy as well too. Our boy Jervon Simon, actually a graduate of West Point, played there on the football team. I think from 2014 to 2017 or 18, one of those years. I reached out to him to get a little bit of information or what his thoughts are. So I'm going to play a little audio message from him right now.
This Saturday, we got the lesser of all academies, Air Force Academy, a.k.a. the Chair Force Academy. I got one thing to say. Go Army, be Air Force.
The Chair Force Academy. Go Army, beat Air Force. Couldn't have said it better, Javon.
Yeah, I'll be frank with you, Mike. I am a former member of the military, the Army myself. I am going to have to go on the other side. I like Air Force in this matchup. I'll tell you why. Their defense is pretty bad. Not bad, like you said, the worst in college football. But they've lost some tough, close matchups because of it. 49-37 to Boise, 34-31 to Navy. They lost by 3 points to UNLV. They lost 44-35 to Hawaii. They give up a lot of points. There's no doubt about it. Here's the thing. Army versus Navy, they have the same style of offense. You know what I mean? So I expect Navy, who practices against said offense every single day, all day, every day during the off season and during the season. I do expect this one to be a rock fight. I expect Air Force to come out with this one at home. And you know me, Mike, Army's played a tougher schedule, and I typically favor those types of teams. I think the line is a little bit too close for comfort, especially since the fact that Air Force is what they beat Bucknell, and I think they beat somebody last week. They're like a 2.
Wyoming.
Wyoming. That's actually a good win for them because Wyoming's not bad football, but only a 2-win team. Toss-up game. Give me the home team.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, I was kind of teetering back and forth as well too. There's just something about Army. I feel like anytime I go against them, they make me eat my words. So I had to rock out with them this week.
I'm with you on that. They've made me eat my words about 4 or 5 times already this season.
I did like, I think one thing that pushed me as well too is they did play North Texas very, very tough. They came down a couple of touchdowns too. So I do like that. Shout out to Air Force though. I mean, no harm by this. I support the troops either in any way that you go, Air Force, Navy, Army, Coast Guard, whatever it may be.
Support our troops. Speaking of supporting our troops, Mike, I'm going to keep it with the Service Academy. We did not discuss this prior to us getting onto the phone. I took Navy North Texas. We've spoken about North Texas a lot this year. If we have to give out our own version of a Dundee Award, a Sports with Skiz Award, North Texas might be up there because we've spoken about them on numerous occasions this year, and rightfully so. They're a pretty sick football team. Drew Mestamaker, no stars, a walk-on. What do you have? 600 yards passing last week. Kids
Set a record,
yes,
right? North Texas record or something.
Yep. And and not just that, but they have just a great. They don't just throw the ball. They've got a running back in Caleb Hawkins who's got over 1,000 yards. He had 2 scores last week. This guy's a stud. I want to. Give me one quick second, but I want to highlight the quarterback on the other side for Navy, and that's Blake Horvath. 900 yards through the air, 7 touchdowns. We all know the Service Academy doesn't throw the football much. 1,700 yards on the ground, 175 carries, 17 touchdowns. 7 is a magic number for this guy. I like him. It's lucky. But you know what? Navy, the number 1 ranked rushing team in all of college football. And they've got guys like Alex Teza. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns. Eli Heidenreich, who's a wide receiver, also has a couple hundred yards through the ground, on the ground, a couple of touchdowns as well. 318 yards rushing per game, Mike. But you know what? I think better than every other Service Academy team, 157 yards through the air. I think Blake Horvath is the best Service Academy quarterback. I think Navy mixes up the throw a little bit more often than those other two teams do as well. Navy's rush defense is solid. I think if they can find a way to keep Caleb Hawkins in check, they might have an opportunity here. They are 6.5-point underdogs on the road. That's how you beat Navy's through the air. Okay, the Mean Green, well versed in passing the football. Everybody knows that. But at the goal line, this is where you can beat Navy. If you can score touchdowns and not field goals. Navy gives up 76% of points in the red zone. But only, I think if I'm not mistaken, only 34 of those are touchdowns. So Navy does a great job of stalling out drives and forcing you to 3 points. If North Texas can get into the end zone, that's going to be a problem for Navy. Again, two completely different teams, right? We're talking about an air raid offense. These guys put up 40, 50 points a ball game, and Navy does too, but they do it in a completely different direction. They like to hold the ball, 33 minutes time of possession. And when you play an offense and a quarterback like Drew Mestamaker, how do you isolate him? How do you take him out of the game? You run the ball. North Texas does not have a great rush defense. They have been solid defensively, but they haven't been great either. So you know what? Give me Navy plus 6.5. I don't know if they win. They're 7-0 on the season, but I do like Navy in a tough ball game. But you know what? I will say this. Give me the under 65.5. It's really, really high. Obviously, both teams are great at scoring, but this is going to be a tougher matchup than we think.
Yeah, I really like this game. I was hoping that College Game Day kind of put aside their SEC and Big Ten bias and would go elsewhere this year. So I was hoping that it would be down there at North Texas. Unfortunately, it hasn't. But I really like this Navy team. And there's two guys that I really, really like for Navy outside of the quarterback. One, Eli Heidenreich. He's a beast. He helps them in the rushing game, but he's also their leading receiver with 507 yards on the year. And then I like Alex Texka, I think his last name is. It's hard to pronounce. Tacza, Teza, maybe. But you know what those two guys have in common?
Hmm.
They're both Mount Lebanon graduates from Pittsburgh,
No
Pennsylvania.
shot.
So both 2022 graduates, both are contributing very, very well to this powerful Navy team. And another thing that I really like about Navy, I was looking at their roster. I want to say they have 10 or so guys from the Pittsburgh area. So they recruit the Whippeal very well, and it shows a lot of those guys who go there. They go on to do great things on that team and then in life as well, too, just because it sets you up. So I do love North Texas, but I am going to ride out here with the Navy midshipmen as well, too. But I do expect this to be a really good game. I think it's going to be closer than the turnout was for North Texas versus USF.
Yeah, Navy. Drive the boat, Navy. Drive the boat.
Drive the effing boat. Knock, you just mentioned about 10 or North Texas, excuse me, being one of those guys who would get like a Dundee or, a Skiz award for just how much that we've talked about them. I think another team that might be first, if not pretty close, Oklahoma. So I'm going to talk about Oklahoma versus Tennessee this week. It's Tennessee minus 3.5. Over under is 56.5. One of the main reasons why I picked this game, I know we talked about it. I hate continuously picking the same teams to talk about, but this is basically an elimination game for one of these two teams. They're both sitting at 6-2. I doubt that if one of these teams lose another game that they're going to be able to make it to the college football playoff. And also, Josh Heupel is playing against his alma mater in Oklahoma. So it'll be interesting to see. But Oklahoma's coming off a brutal, brutal loss to Ole Miss. Mateer did look better than he did against Texas, but you still got to think that they rush him back a little bit too early. His QBR wasn't really good. I want to say it was like 45.1. And I just think that they rushed him back a little bit too much from that hand injury and didn't really let him, get the rejuvenation that he needed to that required from a surgery. So speaking of big playmakers, I know Mateer is one of them. Xavier Robinson had his best game of the season at running back, rushing for over 100 yards last week. But although, he had the best game, Torrey Blaylock is their workhorse for the majority of the season. So I think if they're going to have a big shot at this game, they're going to want to rely on that run game, take some pressure off of Mateer, get the ball rolling. And I think it could be something that, could help out because this Tennessee defense, we'll talk about in a little bit, they aren't that good on the defensive side of the ball. They like to win shootouts. So, although Oklahoma's defense has been, one of the best in the nation, they gave up 431 yards of total offense last week. 300 of that, over 300 of that, excuse me, came in the air. So they're going to have a very tough task against Tennessee this week. They do rank third in the country in passing yards per game. So they love to have those big playmakers on the outsides with Tennessee, make some big plays from Joey Aguilar. So Oklahoma will have their hands full with this Tennessee offense. That front four of R. Mason and Taylor Ween, they do have to get home early and often and get some pressure on Joey Aguilar. So switching over to the Volunteers, we said his name a couple of times there. Joey Aguilar has been very, very good this season at Tennessee, throwing for over 2,300 yards, 18 touchdowns. One of the things that I would like to see him do is take care of the ball this week, limit his bad decision making through the pass game. So that'll be one of the key things here. I think something that could help him out, even though they are number 2 or number 3 in the country in passing, excuse me, they have a really good running game. So Tennessee could rely on Deshaun Bishop and Star Thompson to both be killers in that backfield and open up some play action pass, take a little bit of pressure off of Joey Aguilar to move the ball downfield. And then they do have a 3-headed monster on the outside at wide receivers in Brazel, Staley, and Matthews. So Oklahoma is going to have their hands tied in that secondary to see how they could take away this passing team. So Tennessee's defense, they have to do a lot better. They give up a ton of yards and they rank near the bottom in all aspects defensively. So more specifically pass and run. So they're going to have to limit those big plays from Oklahoma as well too. So look for Aaron Carter to make some big plays in this game. I really, really do like him. And then one of the things that I really like that Tennessee has going for him this weekend is it is a home night game. At Neyland Stadium. So that vibe is top tier down there. The fans are going to be at it. They're going to be rowdy. They're going to be ready for it. So I look for that to help propel them a little bit more over Oklahoma. One thing that could help Oklahoma's offense is Tennessee is ranked 125th in the FBS in red zone defense. They allow opponents to score on 93% of its trips. And this was pretty crazy to see. Oklahoma's red zone offense ranks first, scoring on 100% of red zone opportunities. One of the things, again, Oklahoma also has to do, they got to create some turnovers and they got to keep the ball off the ground and out of the defender's hands. So Oklahoma has a -6 turnover margin compared to Tennessee's +5. So that's going to be one of the keys to the game. But with that being said, go ahead and give me Tennessee -3.5. I think they're going to pull it off. Like I said, they're at home. They have some momentum. Joey Aguilar has been playing good. I think Josh Heupel is going to be, excited to go against his alma mater in Oklahoma. The over/under 56.5 kind of scares me a little bit, but I'm a risk taker. Knock. Give me the over 56.5 as well too.
Yeah, I like the over 56 and a half. This is a big question for both teams, right? For Oklahoma, now that you're in the SEC, are you in the tier of Alabama, Georgia? And the reason why I bring those two teams up is because that's who Tennessee lost to this year. Tennessee is not down bad, but they're looking for a major victory. And here Oklahoma lies. They're coming into Tennessee Stadium. It's a night game, SEC matchup, two highly touted quarterbacks, stud offenses. So I'm with you on the 56. I actually think that's a little bit low, which kind of makes me nervous. But we're gonna ride high with the offenses. Tennessee, they lost their best cornerback before the season started. He had an ACL injury. Since then, they're just 37-20. I think they lost to Alabama. They lost in a game they should have won to Georgia. So they're capable. Yeah. They're very capable. They do give up some yards on the ground. They do give up some yards through the air. John Mateer is going to do his thing offensively. I think Oklahoma's offense is going to start running and chugging along. My problem is, can their defense sustain? They had a great defense through the first half of the season, probably the second or third best defense in the nation. So this is definitely going to be a tough matchup. Great quarterback matchup. I'm going to ride with Tennessee as well here. I don't know how well Mateer has healed, his injury. I don't know what that's like. Whether he's at 100% or not, the team is at in a different place, and they're in a must-win game too. Like you said,
Hmm.
one of these teams is going to be eliminated. I'm riding with the Vols.
Love it. Love it.
And then the next game I think I'm going to hop into, we're going to switch it over from the SEC and move into a little bit of Big Ten action. Kind of an underrated game, a game that might bore you to death and put you to sleep, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be close enough. Michigan State, Minnesota. Um, by the way, Mike, last week we were both afraid to talk about Michigan State and to give the people our thoughts. We both liked Michigan State to cover the spread, didn't think it would happen. They covered the spread on one of the worst bad beats I've ever seen. Uh, Final 40 seconds of the game, there's no need to play. Michigan on defense, just 3 personal fouls on defense to keep the drive going on third downs and things of that nature. And Michigan State scores a touchdown with only seconds remaining to cover. So that's nice for us. That sucks for others. But something's got to give for Michigan State at some point, dude. They don't have a bad team offensively. I don't think they're a poor team. They're 332 yards per game, 210 passing. Aiden Childs isn't great. His completion percentage is only at about 50, and the defense is putrid. As really bad. 88th giving up in passing yards, 77th on the ground. So they give up 32 and a half points per game. And it's like, well, Tanaka, why do you think they can beat Minnesota? Minnesota's got quarterback Drake Lindsay on the other side, and he doesn't do too well. And Minnesota's offense to me though isn't that great. And I think the catalyst for Minnesota is really their defense. At some point, Michigan State's offense has to get rolling. They are on the road. But you know what? That doesn't really scare me because it's Minnesota, right? It's not like they're going on the road. If it was like in Auburn or something, who's like not great, but it's Auburn, you know what I mean? Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know. I really like Michigan State to cover the spread in this one. Um, they're 3-5. Minnesota's 5-3. Michigan State hasn't won a game in conference. They're due. They're just due. Okay. I don't really care. Statistics to me for this game don't really matter all that much. Everybody's taking Minnesota. AI's taking Minnesota. Chat GPT's taking Minnesota. I'm taking Michigan State.
I like it. I throw me in there with ChatGPT. I'm taking Minnesota in this game as well too. During this little 5 game losing streak that Michigan State has had, excuse me, they've given up 38 points twice, 31 points, and 45 points. So I think basically anybody could get going against this defense. They're pretty bad. And like you said, I do think Minnesota's strong point is their defense as well too. Both of these offenses suck. They're like really bad. Just looking at the statistics of everything. So I could see this being a rock fight, but I think Minnesota is going to find a way to get it done. They're going to want to bounce back after they got absolutely shit on by Iowa last week, 41-3. So I think they're going to be pissed off. And Michigan State, man, it's not what we remember growing up on. Obviously, they never were like a crazy national championship team, but 9, 10 wins was never really anything to be like surprised at when they got it. And these past couple of years have just been terrible. So although I hope they fix it and turn it around, I don't think that they're going to win this week.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping for a big game by wide receiver Nick Marsh, and he's got 500 yards and 5 scores. And I just again I get Minnesota got blanked basically last week, but I don't see their offense being the kind of offense that it's like, oh, they're gonna put up 30 for sure. I think they're gonna struggle a little bit. At these kids from Michigan State have I'm putting my faith and my trust and my hope, and I hope that they come out with a little bit of pride and some fight. So let's go Spartans.
I like it. Yeah. Go Sparta. So switching over to my last game here, Knock, I was kind of up in the air with what I was going to do. Again, these are two teams that I feel like we've talked about a lot, but I really, really like this game. I'm talking about the Cincinnati Bearcats traveling to the Utah Utes. It right now, this line is pretty crazy to me. It opened at 7.5. It's the whole way up to minus 10.5 for Utah, over under 54.5. So this is we talked about it last week. I said that last week might be a game that Cincinnati slips up and, their miraculous run of six straight wins last week could come to an end. And, they said, nah, we got your back. I know you ended up picking us, Mike, and we're gonna come through for you. So they ended up beating Baylor pretty good, 41-20. This is going to be their harshest environment. I mean, before this game, they've really only had, I guess, two true road games at Kansas, at Oklahoma State. They played against Nebraska in a neutral site field in Kansas City. So I guess you could maybe say that that was an away game. They had to travel a lot farther, but this is going to be a very, very tough test for Cincinnati. Now, on the other hand, I do really love the Cincinnati team. I mean, we talked about it last week. Brendan Sorsby has just been phenomenal. 1,800 yards passing, 20 interceptions to one, or 20 TDs, excuse me, to one interception is just crazy. I feel like you don't see that much anymore. And the other thing that just is crazy, he has over 420 yards rushing on the ground and 7 touchdowns. And then you add Evan Pryor and Tawee Walker, they both have over 460 yards rushing as well too. They're just such a balanced offense. I'm looking at the wide receivers. They have 4 wide receivers with over 330 yards receiving and 2 or more touchdowns. It just doesn't get more balanced than this offense here for Cincinnati. We talked about it. Their defense gives up yards, but they're a bend don't break. Like Baylor is one of the best offensive teams in the country, and they could only put up 20 points against this defense last week. So, with that being said, I do like Cincinnati there, but moving over to Utah, I mean, they're no slouches either. I mean, Devin Dampier has been damn good, both sides of the ball. Throwing has kind of been okay. He has 1,300 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But then you just look at their run game. He's second on the team with 442 yards rushing behind Wayshawn Parker, who I absolutely love. He's averaging 7.2 yards a carry, has 503 yards on the ground. But then they have, with Devin Dampier, Wayshawn Walker, they have 3 other guys who have 200 yards or more rushing as well too. So they do like to disperse the ball as well. Ryan Davis on the outside receiving has been phenomenal. He's been Dampier's go-to guy, 48 receptions, 518 yards receiving, averaging 10 yards a clip on that. So it's going to be very, very interesting, Knock. I can really, really see Cincinnati losing this game. The points, though, the points are just crazy. I want Cincinnati plus 10.5, so I'm going to take Cincinnati plus 10.5. I want them to shock everybody. I want them to win. I'm not like, I know Pitt and Cincinnati kind of had this rivalry whenever I was growing up a little bit with the Big East, but I'm kind of liking the Bearcats right now. They have sick uniforms, sick colors that, Pitt doesn't have to play them, so I don't have to hate them anymore. I kind of hope they win this game outright, but I do like the plus points, so plus 10.5. And I kind of like the under of 54.5 as well, too, because if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to limit Utah, and it's going to be an ugly one for them.
I too like Cincinnati. Big fan of Brendan Sorsby. Like you said, we've spoken on him so much this year. Coming into the season, I thought Sawyer Robertson would be my favorite quarterback this year, but it's a toss-up because both of those guys have been excellent. I haven't seen too much of Utah in person for me to really get a good idea on them. Cincinnati's got to go down at some point, right? But there's something interesting about that spread, and it's not at 10 even, it's 10.5, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Utah is a favorite. I think I'm gonna ride out with the home team here. And I think I'm sadly gonna take them to cover that. It just seems like it's a little too easy to take Cincinnati. It almost seems like they're saying Brendan Sorsby's due for a regression game, maybe just a poor performance, maybe just not as good of an outing as we're used to seeing thus far. Like you said, 20 touchdowns to 1 interception ratio is absurd in the way he does it. I've explained on numerous times throughout the year, like he slings the rock. He can make any throw in the book. These guys aren't throwing the ball 24% of the time behind the line of scrimmage kind of deal. Utah's got a tough defense. Utah is great at home. They do have 2 losses on the year. They are ranked. They'll drop from the rankings if they lose this one. And this is a make or break game for Utah. As much as I love Cincinnati, and I agree with you, I like rooting for those boys. There's nothing about them right now I don't like. Two-headed monster at the running back position. Defense isn't bad at all. I'll ride with you on Cincinnati to cover, but I do think Utah wins this game, but I'm rooting Cincinnati.
I got you. Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be a very tough environment. I mean, it's gonna be a night game in Salt Lake City. It's gonna be a packed house. It's gonna be very, very loud there. So it'll be interesting to see how Cincinnati, responds to that as well too. So I like that we're together on there. As you were talking, actually, I refreshed the page and the line dropped. So it's now Cincinnati plus 9.5, but we locked it in when it was 10.5. So we're gonna go with 10.5 there.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm gonna keep it at 9.5 because I'm not doing what I did last week. But man, does that scare me? I'll jump over to another group of guys that we've just spoken about just too many times this year, but I couldn't pass it up. Mike, Arch Manning needs a signature win. I know it's last week he just came back down 17 in the fourth quarter and won in overtime, double overtime. Mississippi State's good this year, but that's not the signature win Arch Manning is looking for. That's not the signature. They're not great, they're
I wouldn't say they're good.
they're a better Mississippi State than what I'm used to seeing. They're a competitive ball
I'll
club.
give you that.
I'll give them that. No, Texas needs this win versus Vanderbilt. They're the home favorite and pretty much a toss-up game. I think the line's at 2.5. So it's a field goal game, maybe 3.5. Regardless, though. Battle of two quarterbacks. One thing I'm really noticing though for Vanderbilt is I'm not sold on the weapons surrounding Diego Pavia. I'm really, really not. These are guys like Trey Richardson's only got 162 yards receiving and a touchdown. 134 yards receiving for Junior Sherrill, 2 touchdowns. They spread the ball out. Cedric Alexander, I believe he had a big play versus Alabama. I think he went for like 60 or 70 yards, but it's not like he's got 500, 600, 700 yards to really help that offense out. It's just a one-man show. They're a one-trick pony. And I love it. I like Vanderbilt a lot. I love Diego Pavia. I love the energy that he brings, the swag that he's got. But sometimes it's just not enough. And they took that loss to Alabama, and I know that they're looking for a win themselves. Both teams are on winning streaks. Texas has won 3 in a row, and simply just Texas is looking for that massive win, that big. They're still in contention. They can still make something happen. Arch Manning is growing week by week. I can only imagine his confidence much better coming into the game on Saturday after last week. That's got to be like a monkey off his back almost. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing about Texas, and they've done it just 2 or 3 times this year, get the run game going versus Vanderbilt, you're going to win. They're going to win the game against Vanderbilt. I think they'll win outright anyway, but if they can get Wisner on the ground, man, get him 70 yards, 80 yards, get him in the end zone one time. I'm telling you, keep it balanced for Arch Manning. You stop Pavia through the air. I don't really trust Vanderbilt's offense as much as I trust Texas's offense. Now, Texas's defense is the question for me here because their defense it hasn't been good. It just hasn't been good. And to be honest with you, 2 of their wins, they beat Oklahoma, they beat Mississippi State last week. Shout out Texas's special teams. 2 punt returns in key situations for touchdowns in both of those games. Without those plays, they don't win. But yeah, man, I'm riding high with Arch Manning. I have to. My heart is telling me to, and I'm going to. Texas money line at home.
I like it. You kind of shocked me there saying that Texas's defense isn't good. I mean, besides last week, I think that they've been very, very stellar. The most points that they gave up besides last week were 21. And, when your offense is kind of turning the ball over and not moving it and you're just on the field, I think that's what kind of hurts them a little bit. So I got to go against you there. I do think Texas has a really good defense. One of the interesting things, though, that is going to be nice to see in this matchup is Texas has the third ranked run defense. They're only giving up 80 yards per game. And Vandy has the 24th ranked rushing offense in the country at over 203 yards on the ground. So I do kind of like that. I want to see, what side of it holds up, what side of it wins. With that being said, I do think Vandy has had the tougher schedule thus far in some of the games that they've played and the teams that they've beat, and kind of shocked, to be honest with you. It goes back to their win against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's had a big, a down year, but they didn't just beat them, they beat the shit out of them 44-20. They went on the road to South Carolina, who was ranked 11th at the time, beat them 31-7. They lost what I think was a closer game than the final score at Alabama. They showed a lot of toughness, and then they beat number 10 LSU and number 15 Missouri in kind of like back and forth games that were a little bit different. The LSU game, they had to score a little bit more to keep pace. They did so. And then the Missouri, they just had to keep, that one was more of a rock fight, 17-10. So one of the things that I do like in this game is just Vandy's resilience. I'm a fan of the underdog. I'm a fan of the Cinderella. I really like Vandy in this game. I want to see how Arch plays. Like you said, he has been getting a little bit better. It's just, there's just still something about this Texas team that I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't know what it is. So I'm gonna rock out here with Vandy plus the points. Might even sprinkle a little something on the money line there. And then I do like the over in this game as well, too. I think if it's gonna be a game that Vandy wins, they're gonna have to score.
Yeah, just a quick question though. Other than Alabama, those teams that Vanderbilt played, do you think Texas? I mean, I think Texas can beat those guys.
I mean, they lost to
LSU,
Florida.
that's true. That's true. I don't think LSU's great. Who are the other two teams that you named? I'm blanking here.
Missouri, LSU, Alabama, and then early in the season at South Carolina.
Definitely, you know, definitely tough games. I think Texas, Virginia Tech, Texas can beat Virginia Tech. I think Texas could have beaten Missouri. I think Texas can play with LSU because their offense hasn't been great. You know what I mean? So I think Texas matches up with those teams well. I don't know. Alabama and Georgia kind of are running the show down there right now. So
Do you think Vandy beats Kentucky by 3 points?
no, I think Vandy takes care of Kentucky.
Yeah, they do. That's the only thing that I was getting at too, is they definitely have like similar I guess games now, just because like you said, like South Carolina, they stink right now. They're not, they're 1-5 in the SEC. LSU just fired their coach. Missouri lost their quarterback. So it's like, I understand what you're saying there. I just think as a whole and a collective, they're just resume. I think that they've played stronger teams. I think Texas went on a run of 3 weeks where they played San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston. So it's like I just
Right.
think that Vandy's just been a little bit more battle tested, even in their even in their out of conference schedule. I think Utah State beats the majority of the teams that Texas played in their out of conference schedule. So that's all I meant by that. But I'm with you because some of those games now you look back at, it's like, oh, South Carolina, they stink.
Yeah, man, they were supposed to be good this year.
I know.
Disappointed. Lenore Sellers going down earlier, I think might have had something to do with that. It probably did, but they didn't look good when he was playing either. So
No, no, not at all. It's kind of a weird year down there in Columbia, South Carolina. So we'll see how that goes. Quick hits, Knock. Did you have anything else from any of the games or anything like that? Any other games that you like that you wanted
yeah,
to
you
bet or?
you think Penn State has any shot to cover versus Ohio State, or am I just dreaming on that one? I'm
I
always
think you're
dreaming
dreaming
on
on that one, to be honest with you.
that. They're so bad.
Ohio,
They're
yeah,
so bad.
They're bad. Ohio State's defense is not bad. Ohio State's defense is just like they're fucking great, bro. They are so good. I really think that this year's Ohio State team beats last year's Ohio State team by a touchdown or more because I think their offense is a little bit more diversified this year, and I think their defense is just like they could honestly have. I'd have to look up they have an end. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but then Caleb Downs. They could have like two guys picked in top five picks of the NFL draft next year, maybe even like three in the top 10. It's
Yeah, man.
crazy.
Yeah, it is great, and like I said, I was just taking a look at it. It's 21 and a half or 20 and a half. I'm like, maybe, but I think Ohio State's home, so never mind. It's going to be like a 42-6 ball game.
Yeah, and like Caden Curry, that's the other DN that I'm talking about. He's good. He has 7 sacks on the year. Arvell Reese has 5.5 sacks on the year. Like, it's just gonna be. I don't know. Penn State's next 2 weeks, their next two games look disgusting for them. And that Nathan Grunkemeyer, I don't believe in him. So it's like, is he going to step up and kind of make his name against Ohio State? You always have, a small chance that Katron Allen could step up. And even looking at these stats, man, it's crazy how bad of a year Nick Singleton has had. He should have went into the draft last year, man. This dude has 76 carries for 247 yards. 3.6 a carry is crazy. I don't see them doing anything. They might not get their first power conference win until they play Michigan State in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and even in that game, I might take Michigan State money line.
Close your ears if you're a Penn State fan. Knock is a Penn State fan for those who um, are new to this platform. So, we're not just shitting on them for no reason.
Penn State, I'm really dealing with it. I've had nothing to be excited about. Penn State and West Virginia are both god awful, and they're not bad. They're both historically bad right now for their programs and their universities. So, I mean, what do you think about Pitt versus Stanford?
Uh, it's kind of nerve-wracking, bro, just with all the like media coverage Pitt's been getting because of how well Mason's played. Like I saw a tweet, someone screenshotted. It was actually not to shit on Penn State fans even more, but it was on one of their message boards, and it was someone who put up on the message board and was like, "We have double the like necessities for NIL, scouting, stuff like that than Pitt does, and somehow they find a fucking 3-star gem that no one else has find, and they're able to turn him into the second coming of Dan Marino, and we can't even get Drew Aller to do what we're supposed to do." So I thought that was funny, but the media coverage around Pitt scares me a little bit. If those of you that don't follow Pitt, Pitt pits, and what I mean by that is Pitt can't get out of their own way sometimes in football or basketball. It doesn't matter. There's a game that they're going to just pit and give away. I don't think it's going to be this one though. However, I do like that this game's at 3:30 Eastern. I was praying to God that it wasn't coming on at like 11 o'clock at night and I'd have to drink 33 cups of coffee. So I do think that they could cover the spread 14 and a half. I do believe that they are getting back some of their key defenders that have been out. Rasheem Biles missed last week. He's missed the last 2 games actually, and Kyle Lewis was out last week too. So big shout out to the hometown kid Cameron Lindsay from Aliquippa, redshirt freshman. He stepped in for Rasheem Biles the last 2 weeks and just has looked phenomenal. So this Pitt freshman group with either redshirt freshmen or even just true freshmen with Mason Heinchel, and then the running back, which is Turner, I believe. He's been the main guy. Yeah, Jacarion Turner, he's a true freshman. The kicker's a true freshman. Like they did a really, really good job going out and finding kids who could come step in and play right away. So give me the Panthers, obviously. That's the hometown insight.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with you there. I think Stanford had their big win versus Florida State a couple of weekends ago. So, Pitt just looks so solid. This kid, freshman or not, sometimes the stars don't matter, man. It just really doesn't. Quarterbacks throughout time have shown that. I mean, athletes throughout time have shown that.
Hmm.
This kid can make any throw in the book. I'm fascinated by it because he just looks so casual back there, just very nonchalant in the way that he just looks like he's a veteran. And he's only started that would this be his fourth start or his fifth start?
Fifth. This will be his fifth start.
Okay. So through four starts, man, the kids look great. Pitts looked excellent. I mean, right now, Pitt looks like they're a team that can make a run.
Little dark horse action.
Dark horse, yeah, absolutely. A little Cinderella season, which is awesome. You know what I mean? Like liking Penn State, liking West Virginia. I don't hate Pitt. I'm not. Everybody's like, oh, you gotta hate Pitt. Like I don't. I root for you guys like on a low key. Obviously after my teams, but like you gotta. I'm impressed with what you guys have going on and the way you guys flipped the script after that loss versus West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Haha. But no,
And Louisville, bro. I'm thinking honestly, I think if
that
Mason
Louisville
starts
loss did it. Yeah.
if Mason starts this whole season, I really do think Pitt's undefeated. He just like you said, he plays like a vet. Like Eli Holstein's a redshirt sophomore, so technically a junior, and this kid's blowing him out of the water. If Eli Holstein's, no shade to Eli, I hate doing this to kids, but like if Eli's first read was taken away, he panicked. Like he could not find where else to go on his second read. He would try to run the ball, but then like start looking around. Mason like avoids pressure and then keeps his eyes downfield. He could run, but he looks to pass before he takes off, and that's helped out. And not only has like Mason played well, but because of Mason, Kenny Johnson has stepped up as well too. He's now Pitt's leading receiver. In the first 4 games this year with Eli Holstein at quarterback, he had 177 total receiving yards. In the 4 games that Mason has played, he has 325.
Wow.
So it's crazy how he's gotten him to go before Eli or before Mason. His biggest game that he had was against Central Michigan, 58 yards. And with Mason, he's had 2 games of over 110 yards receiving. He probably would have had more against NC State, but he actually got hurt and didn't return at halftime. So it's cool to see. I'm loving Pitt's bounce back. I was a Fire Narduzzi guy. Now I'm like, okay, he's cool. Let's just keep recruiting our asses off and getting some kids to come in and take advantage of Penn State's down year.
Yeah, yeah, take advantage of it. You did, and I'm like I said, I'm rooting for you guys, and you guys are getting the recruits and all of that, and I'm sure some of these guys are going to start decommitting and going over
Mm.
to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, there. I saw West Virginia got a couple of kids that are former Penn State commits that are going to be going there as well too. It was funny. One kid is a 4-star lineman, and he scheduled visits to Ohio State and West Virginia. So it was funny to see West Virginia thrown in there with Ohio State, but no more shade thrown at West Virginia. I don't, you guys beat us, so I can't even say anything for the next 4 years. But a couple of other games to knock. SMU hosting Miami. Miami's at minus 11.5. SMU had a terrible, terrible game against Wake Forest last week. Probably the ugliest game I've ever watched in my life, if not one of them. But for some reason, I'm leaning SMU plus the points. I don't know what it is. With this, I think Miami's kind of found their rhythm after stumbling a little bit against Louisville, but it's in Dallas. It's an hour time difference. It's going to be 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock Eastern here. So give me SMU plus the points. That's going to be like my not very confident pick of the weekend.
Yeah, give me the over on that game.
50.5. I like that. Give me Houston minus 12.5 at home against your West Virginia Mountaineers. I do apologize, but Houston, first time they're ranked since 2022, and they're playing their asses off. So I like Houston minus 12.5. Knock, give me your thoughts on Clemson minus 2.5 versus Duke.
Yeah, no, Clemson's well. Okay, let me ask you this: who's the quarterback?
I don't know. I haven't seen much news. Let me do a little Google real quick.
You know what? I got to be honest with you, man. I hate Clemson. I hate them. I've always hated them, but after the season they had, I hate them even more. I have taken Clemson 3 or 4 times already this year. They have killed me all 3 or 4 times. I have no faith in that defense. I actually think the backup quarterback is a better pure passer than Cade Klubnik. I think his last name's like Vizini or something like that. Uh,
Yeah, he transfers every year in my dynasties.
okay, yeah, well, kid can throw the ball around, man. I mean, his first game starting 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Just that defense is so ungodly bad. I don't know, man. The line is telling me to take Tech or Clemson, and I'm going to. I'm going to, because at some point they got to do me justice. But gosh, I hate them. I hate them.
Yeah, I think as much as I hate Clemson too, I'm going to take Clemson in that game. I don't know what it is. I think the home environment will help them out a little bit. But before we jump down, knock to a little bit of what's going on in FCS and Division Two, I did want to give a quick shout out. We had a guy on TikTok. I can't remember exactly what his name is, but big shout out to Cam Cook at Jacksonville State. They played on
Best in the nation.
two. Yeah, they played on Tuesday. They beat Middle Tennessee, excuse me, 24-21. He didn't do anything too crazy. I want to say he had over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown, but this dude has been killing it. 181 carries on the ground, over 1,000 yards already, 11 touchdowns, best running back right now in the country. So shout out Cam Cook. I wanted to make sure we gave him a little bit of notoriety there.
Yeah, Cam Cook is a guy I can definitely see getting drafted. He's not, I can't see him getting drafted. He's going to get drafted. Is what I
Definitely.
should say. This guy's been stellar all year long. So congratulations, bro. Keep going.
Definitely. And dropping down to the FCS, just a little bit of some quick stuff here. We talked about it, but North Dakota State beat the shit out of South Dakota State 38-7. They have another ranked matchup at home against Youngstown State, the Penguins, this weekend. I think that they're just going to continue to get it done. I don't think anybody's really going to be able to sniff their jockstrap in a sense, if you will say, this week. So I think they get it done against the Penguins. Knock, any thoughts on that?
Nah, I think I'm gonna rock out with North Dakota State on this one.
Smart man.
Yeah, Youngstown State's cool. It's not far away from where we're from, just a couple hour drive, but I can't rock with the Penguins on this one.
I don't blame you. Turtle State, they are 9-0 right now. They actually go on the road to number 25, Abilene Christian University. So that should be a pretty good game. But give me Turtle State there. I'm not going to go against them. And then I want to see any other ones. Oh, shout out to my boys. University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, down in the valley, baby. I want to say that they only have one loss on the year. They're receiving votes to be ranked. They got to travel to their hardest test so far this year in Stephen F. Austin. So shout out to my boys. I hope that they win that game. They've been really cool and interactive with some of their pages on Twitter, so I got to keep shouting them out.
Yeah, you know what? I'm taking a look here at some of these games for the FCS, and I think I'm gonna throw a parlay together of nothing but FCS games. I've got
Mm.
them all right here. So we're gonna have fun with the FCS this weekend, man. We're just gonna kick back and watch a little bit of Lafayette, Holy Cross kind of deal. St. Francis versus Wagner College. I think both of my Pennsylvania teams there come up with the victory.
I like it. I like it. Just dropping down then into Division Two as well too. Ferris State still ranked number one. They got all of the first place votes, and why not when you're on a 23 game win streak, I believe it is now. They beat their big rival Grand Valley State last week, 38-31. They host Northern Michigan this week. I think they get it done again. Shout out to shout out to Kutztown, excuse me, the lone PSAC school in the top 10, which is very weird to see. The PSAC is kind of having like a Big 12 type of year where they're just eating each other alive. But they host East Stroudsburg this weekend. I think they get it done. And then shout out Slippery Rock. They're back in the rankings, sitting at 5-2 at number 22 in the country. They host Clarion this week, who, if Clarion's the same Clarion they've been since I was in the PSAC, they should beat the shit out of them.
Righteous, righteous. Yeah, shout out to the smaller schools, man. We always try to show you guys love. Roanoke College in Virginia taking a slight turn. They started off the season really well. They've lost 3 out of their last 4, so we'll see if they can win one this week. Guys, you have a fan in Western Pennsylvania. All right? I love you. I love you. So, whatever. Got to shed light on my boys.
Yeah, and shout out D3 too. It's so funny. I gotta do a Google search and see how many Division 3 universities they have up there in Wisconsin, because we got the University of Wisconsin Whitewater traveling to number 8, University of Wisconsin Whitewater, excuse me, traveling to number 9, University of Wisconsin River Falls. This comes after University of Wisconsin Whitewater, follow me here, played University of Wisconsin Platteville last weekend. So how many schools do they have in the University of Wisconsin up there? I'm looking at number 11 in the country, University of Washington La Crosse. They just played last week, University of Washington Oshkosh, and they host this week, excuse me, University of Wisconsin Stout. Holy shit, I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, the University of Wisconsin in Division III has an entire conference of 8 to 11 teams of straight University of Wisconsin branch schools. So I don't know. Maybe we should get some of those guys on the actual Wisconsin team, because fuck, they are bad, dude.
Yeah, they're ass.
They're
They're so bad. They're really bad. But I think that just about does it for us. Shout out to everybody that's been tuning in. Again, we are going to be on all podcast platforms. So if YouTube isn't your vibe and you don't want to watch our ugly ass faces talk football, feel free to dial it up on your Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I think our first episode, if I'm not mistaken, actually just dropped on there, Knock. I think I saw that come through while we were on here talking as well too. So everybody go check that out. Please like and subscribe. Leave a review for us. Let us know what you want to hear, what you like, what you don't like. We are well adaptive. And make sure you go follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We are still doing our initiative per follower on there, and per subscriber, we are donating 10 cents to a charitable organization. So we really, really do appreciate you guys. Thank you all for everything, and thank you for your support.
And just real quick, if you're still here with us, our podcast is up Apple, Spotify. So please take the chance, take the time as you're driving to work, before you go to bed, whatever the case may be, while you're brushing your teeth, give us a listen, and have a great rest of your day as well.